On this episode of Top 10, we are going to be counting down the top 10 states with the highest murder rates. So let's get this started. Number 10 on the list will be Illinois. Chicago is the biggest city in Illinois, in Cook County. Illinois has a per 100,000 people per homicide is 7.8. Illinois also has 12.7 million people and is the seventh most populated state in America. You know, you hear a lot about Chicago and things like that, but Chicago is a major part of why Illinois is number 10 on this list. There's actually three other states that tied Illinois, so all three of them are, in 8th, 9th, and 10th with 7.8 homicide per 100,000 people. There's a lot of urban decay in certain parts of Chicago. See, Chicago is a divided city when it comes to racially division, as far as one side got a lot of the black people, the other side got the more upper class, white people, if you want to call it that, so it's not like other cities in America, where the whole city's like that. So it's mainly a lot of the homicide happen on a certain part of the city. The number 9 state with the highest murder rate will be Tennessee. Tennessee is surrounded by a lot of different other states, Tennessee's connected to North Carolina, Virginia, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, West Virginia, and Ohio. Tennessee is surrounded by the most different states. The biggest major city in Tennessee would be Memphis. Memphis has a very large African American population. It's actually the largest predominantly black city in America. Memphis is have a high murder rate itself, but Tennessee have a lot of other cities. They got Knoxville, Chattanooga, Nashville. This would be Nashville. Nashville actually has a better skyline than Memphis, and also the tallest building. The Tennessee Titans also play in Nashville, but Nashville, they're rivals in Tennessee. Nashville and Memphis. I was on a bus, traveling, and when I was in Memphis, these guys from Memphis, they was talking a lot of smack about Nashville, like how Nashville wants to be a major city so bad, but Nashville it's a major city. Like this is Knoxville. And Tennessee has 6.7 million people. Tennessee is also the 16th most populated state in America. And per 100,000 is 7.8 homicide rate, 7.8 per 100,000. That's Tennessee. That's Memphis. The Memphis. That's some of the slums in Memphis. The number 8 state with the highest murder rate will be South Carolina. South Carolina is a smaller state as far as land and population down south. It's right next to Georgia and of course North Carolina. The biggest city in South Carolina will be Columbia and Charleston, but their cities are not as big as other major cities. But South Carolina is on this list. It can get violent out there. They got the slums out there, and like I said, those cities are not as big as the other, but South Carolina made this list for the number 8th most dangerous state. The number 7th most dangerous state will be Mississippi. Mississippi is a down south state. We know the history that comes with Mississippi. This right here would be Jacksonville, Mississippi. Beautiful Capitol building, I can say. It's a nice Capitol building. Not too many tall buildings in Jackson, Mississippi, but you know, a lot happened over there. You don't really hear a lot about Jackson, Mississippi and stuff like that. But it's a smaller state as far as population down south. But in Jackson, Mississippi, per 100,000 people is 8.2 murder rate. Jackson, Mississippi also has 2.9 million people, making it the 34th most populated state in America. You know, some of the ghettos in Jackson, Mississippi, you won't really meet a lot of people from Jackson, Mississippi, because a lot of people down there tend to stay down there. The number 6 most murders out of all the states in America, highest murder rate, will be Alabama. This is Birmingham, Alabama, the most populated city in Alabama. But Alabama has a couple cities. Unlike Jackson, Mississippi, there are a lot of other cities in Alabama. You got Montgomery, Alabama. You got, like I said, Birmingham. You got I can't name it off the top of my head, but there's another city that's big in Alabama. Alabama, per 100,000 miles, per 100,000 people is 8.3 murder rate. Oh, you got Mobile, Alabama. It didn't cross my mind. That's at the bottom of the state. Alabama has a population of 4.8 million people, making it the 24th most populated state. As you're starting to see, some of these states with the highest murder rates are down south. The majority of them are, but we will get to the rest of them. The number 5 state with the highest murder rate will be, it would be Alaska. A lot of people would be surprised, like, wow, Alaska, what's going on out there? But it's on the list. Alaska is a very small state, but per 100,000, Alaska has 8.4. It's 8.4 in a murder rate. Alaska only has 700,000 people, so making it the 48th most populated state. So that's very small. This is Anchorage, Alaska. This is their major city, but it's not really a major city if you're going to compare its population. But Alaska is on this list at the number 5th. Anchorage right here, you will see, you will be thinking, wow, why is Alaska, crime rate high like that or whatever like that? But you got to think about it. That's a very cold area. You know what I'm saying? So when people commit crimes, it's harder for people to come and see them, and catch them doing what they're doing, because there's not a lot of people that's outside, so there's not going to be a lot of witnesses, and then therefore it's probably going to empower, criminals to commit more crimes. The number 4 state with the highest murder rate in America will be Arkansas. The largest city in Arkansas would be Little Rock. Per 100,000 people, Arkansas is 8.4 on the 8.6 on the homicide rate. Arkansas has 3 million people, making it the 33rd most populated state in America. Just like Jackson, Mississippi, Arkansas is not really nationwide known for homicides and things like that. You have a lot of the bigger states like California, Florida, Texas, New York, Ohio. People know about those states, but when you do the population of the states per capita, Arkansas is ranked higher than those states. You know what I'm saying? So that's Arkansas's number 4th on the list. That's Arkansas right there. You know, projects in there. Number 3 on the list for the states with the most murders in America would be Maryland. This is the state that I'm from. Baltimore, Maryland is the largest city in Maryland. Baltimore population has been declining. At one point in time, Baltimore had like 700,000 people, and at that time DC only had 500,000 people, and DC is about 45 minutes from Baltimore. They're close but very different. And you know, Baltimore is known for heroin. State of Maryland has a lot of heroin, so this is why it's on this list. But 100 out of 100,000 people, Maryland's homicide rate is 9.0. Maryland has 6 million people, making it the 19th most populated state. But Maryland is also one of the most smallest states. But I wouldn't be surprised the homicide rate in Maryland would be high. You know, you got Baltimore, like I said, one of the worst cities, but DC's also in Maryland, but it doesn't count as Maryland. It's its own district. And you have Prince George's County, a predominantly black county. Got Montgomery County, Hagerstown, Salisbury, these little cities in Maryland. And Maryland also is like has the fourth highest percentage of black people that live in the state. So like 29% of people that live in Maryland are black or African American. And in Maryland, everything's close. You know, almost everywhere in Maryland is about an hour to an hour and a half. You can get to DC or Baltimore. So I wouldn't be surprised that it's on this list. These are ghettos of Baltimore. Other ghetto cities, a lot of the ghetto cities are in Prince George's County. You got Hagerstown, Maryland. They call it Little Baltimore. And that's Baltimore. The number 2 state with the highest murder rate in America will be Missouri. That's St. Louis, Missouri. St. Louis, Missouri has the highest murder rate in the state, but St. Louis, Missouri is not the largest city in the state. That would be Kansas City. But St. Louis, Missouri, out of 100,000 people, is 9.8 on the homicide rate. St. Louis has 6.1 million people and is the 18th most populated state. You know, Ferguson's in St. Louis County. St. Louis it's like Baltimore. It's a very dangerous cities. Like the cities with the highest murder rates that's on this level. These are some of the highest murder rates cities in the world. St. Louis, Baltimore, Detroit, New Orleans. Those are like the worst city. You don't get no worse than that in America. But St. Louis also has Kansas City, Missouri, and Kansas City, Missouri has a high murder rate too. So the state of Missouri is not a state to play with. You know, a lot of things go down there, and them people down there, you know, it's a lot of homicides in Missouri. You might not hear about Missouri. You might be like, Missouri, what is Missouri? You know, but Missouri is a very dangerous state. You know, that's St. Louis. And then you also have the cities that are the most ghetto cities. I will do a video about that too, as far as, you know, just urban decay. And St. Louis will be on my list too. That city, you're gonna have St. Louis on that list. You're gonna have Baltimore on that list, New Orleans on that list, Detroit on that list. You know, Memphis. But the number 1 state with the highest murder rate will be Louisiana. The largest city in Louisiana is New Orleans. New Orleans, before Hurricane Katrina had the highest murder rate. After that, it went down, starting to go back up. But Louisiana is the most predominantly black state in America. You know, more percentage of black people live in this state than anywhere else. Louisiana also have a lot of different cities as far as, you know, that are over 100,000 people. Like you got Shreveport, you got Baton Rouge, Louisiana. But that's the urban decay in Louisiana. Louisiana per 100,000 people have 12.4 on murder rate. Louisiana has 4.6 million people, making it the 25th most populated state. So Louisiana is not big like that.